Yes,
We can hear you.
that's good.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get started with this evening's meeting. Ms. McBeat, could you please read the certification of the closed session?
Yes, Mr. Mead. Whereas the New Kent County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2, 3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the New Kent County School Board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that New Kent County School Board hereby certifies that the best to each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirement by the Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting to which the certification resolution applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the New Kent County School Board.
Do I hear a motion to approve the certification of the closed session? Who has second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The certification of the closed session is accepted. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming to tonight's meeting. Ms. Barber will be joining us remotely this evening via conference call. So again, thank you for attending, and we look forward to hearing all your presentations and your comments. But if you would join us this evening to stand as we do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome. We will start this evening by our recognition and our school spotlights. This evening, as our school spotlights will be on New Kent High School. And so you guys are up.
Good evening, everyone. Is that on? Yep. Oh, well, I'm loud, so. Testing. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I just am taking Mr. Valdrigue's place, who is a little under the weather this evening. But I wouldn't have missed this to spotlight Mrs. McInich and her wonderful chemistry students who do an awesome job putting on a science fair that she does every semester. So that's a huge task. So she does this twice a year, and these wonderful students are here to present their projects to you. So with no further ado, Mrs. McInich.
Hi, thank you for having us tonight to speak. I am really happy that we are doing science fairs, and about 5 years ago I started this, and I think the kids get a really good experience out of it. Well, you'll hear from them. But I also want to thank Mr. Miller and the elementary school teachers who are now started their science fair of their own, because when I started mine, they had never done anything like that. So we take it a little bit further, then we do statistics on it and stuff, but I'm really proud of all the kids that have done it. And by any chance, I saved these projects, which is why some of these just found out today they were doing this tonight. So, we had 2 dropouts from, they were doing SAT prep tonight. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Hazel, and she is going to talk about her project. Thank you very much.
Is there a camera somewhere so that the folks at home can see her board too?
Hazel, let's turn it. We'll be your assistant.
Oh, okay.
Find the best turn it this way a little bit. You know what's on it, so you don't need
So
to.
we get to come and look at it after the
Yeah.
meeting and get it closed up.
Okay, that works.
Or actually, if the board doesn't mind if we turn it to the audience.
Yeah, that's
you guys
fine.
okay with that?
That's fine.
Yeah.
They're more you guys than us.
So my name is Hazel Hardesty. I am a senior, technically a junior who decided to graduate early, and I took chemistry my sophomore year, first semester. And I noticed that everybody else was doing something on a website called Science Buddies, so I decided to take it further and do a project on hydroponics. I started with going to grab seeds, and then I built my own hydroponic system using 3 fish tanks and fertilizer off of Amazon. Not my best idea. I got a grow light. I got pH up and down, which is this weird brand that, controls the pH level in the water. I set it up. I got it working with the help of my mom, and it did not work. It failed. It failed off the bat. I had used foam boards to float in the water and hold the seeds, and they just weren't growing, so I rethought, I improvised, and I found a little store in Richmond that actually specialized in hydroponics, and they basically told me everything I needed to know. They told me that I should get growing plants rather than starting from seeds. I got my new pH from there, I got my fertilizers from there, and kept one other fertilizer as my control. So I ended up doing 3 fish tanks at a time, each with, 3 different plants. I think I did, let's see. I know I did parsley. I know I did oregano. And there's one more herb. I can't remember. I'm sorry. But I got all my stuff. I put it back in. I had to filter out the water because it got grimy and very viscous. So I changed it out. I tried it again. I got air bubblers so I could keep the water going. And that helped so much. And my plants thrived. It was awesome. I mean, I brought them in. I had oregano for weeks. I didn't know what to do with it. There was so much. I was giving it to neighbors. And it was perfectly grown. I mean, the light worked. I went in and I took pictures every day. And it was overall a really good experience. And I really enjoyed my help from Miss Mac. She lent me 2 fish tanks that I had to silicone caulk together so that water wouldn't escape. So my findings were that the 2 fertilizers I got from the little plant store in Richmond, they worked great. But Miracle Grow plant food, don't use it. It was bad. Although it was supposed to go in dirt, and I used it in water, still don't use it. It was just bad. My plants were slimy for some reason. They had this goop covering them. They turned brown. It was a bad experience. But my other 2 were Flora Nova Grow, which was specifically for herbs, and then Pure Blend Pro. And they were 2 very concentrated liquids that you'd pour a little bit in the water, depending on the amount of water in there. I think these were 5-liter tanks. I poured it in, and I turned on the bubblers, and I let it go for, I think, 3-4 weeks. And I ran 3 trials at a time because I did not have the time. I started my science fair project really late. That was my fault. So I did 3 trials at once, and they all worked out really well. You guys will look at it after. But it was awesome, and I really enjoyed talking about it with Dr. Nichols when he originally came to see my science fair last year. I felt cool.
Hazel, everybody knows you are cool.
Thank you, but your
Just
shoe
by
game
the work
is cooler.
that you did.
Shoe game is cooler. So yeah, Miss McIninch loved my project, and I love her.
Hazel, we
And-
do have some other people that need to share at some
sorry,
point.
sorry.
Just want you to
Okay,
know.
all in. Sorry. Oh, there you go.
I don't know how I'm going to top that, but I'm going to try my best because that was really good, but I'm going to try. Oh, thanks, Hazel.
Hazel.
This
There you
way.
go.
All right.
They want to see it. Okay, hello, my name is Olivia Boyd, and I'm a junior at New Kent High School. So, I want to be a nurse in the future, so I decided to base my project on something that I could use later on. So, I chose to do which antibiotic has the greatest effect on salmonella. And yes, I did have to order the salmonella, and it stunk really bad, and it came in a tube, but it did end up working out, so it was fine. I used 5 different kinds of medicine. I did penicillin. I don't know how to say these words, but I'm going to try my best. I used penicillin, ampicillin, tetracycline, streptomycin, and chloraminophenol. That's definitely not how you say it, but that's a type of medicine. So how I did my project was I used 3 different trials. I had 6 petri dishes filled with each of the different antibiotics and the salmonella and all. I would place a set in the incubator and let it grow, and the next day I would check on it, set the next set in there, check on it the next day, and on the 3rd day I finally checked on my last trial. How I figured out which medicine had the greatest effect on the salmonella was it created a zone of inhibition. So that's when the medicine starts to spread around the salmonella, and it creates like this white distance, and you just measure it, and whichever one has the greatest amount of distance around the medicine is which one is working the most. So after my first 2 trials, they did not work, and I did get a little bit stressed because they were not growing around the medicine. It was just growing white bubbles everywhere, so I was kind of getting nervous. But my last trial did end up working, and I found out that the penicillin had the greatest effect on the salmonella. It created this little white zone around it, and I was so excited. And I ran down to Miss Mack's room, and I was like, Miss Mack, they're growing! And they did, in fact, grow, and I was so happy. But yeah, I found out that penicillin does have the greatest effect on salmonella. Don't hold me to that. Don't know if it's true, but I think it's true. So I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to share my project with you all. And thank you to Ms. Mack for letting me have my own idea and just pursuing it and making it come true. So
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carrington Coyle, and I am in 11th grade. And I took chemistry last semester with Miss Mack. And I chose to do my project on curing concrete. This kind of sounds like weird, but my dad is a builder, and we were also in the process of building our new house. So I kind of wanted to see like which temperature would be the best for building and using concrete. So I chose to do this because my dad is a builder. Sorry, guys, I'm not good at this. Okay, so I got 32 trays of concrete, and 18 of them were crack-resistant concrete mix, and the other 18 were high-strength concrete mix, and I would place them like equally in each of the different environments, and I chose to do room temperature, a hot environment, and a cold environment. So after about 12 hours of them being in each environment, I would use a hammer and see how many hits it took to break the actual concrete. And then I would do this trial again after 24 hours. And looking at the average number of hits it took to break the actual concrete, the crack-resistant concrete after 24 hours in room temperature took the most hits to crack. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, guys.
Now, this one, having 3 siblings, I'm very curious about the answer to this. I'm hoping it's the 3rd child.
Hello, my name is Allie Smith. Currently, I'm a junior, and I took Miss Mack's class last year. And I did my experiment on birth order and its effect on GPA. I've always been interested in it. I love psychology, and I just wanted to see, like, the different effects on it. The first part of my experiment was creating a Google form. I asked questions like what your age was, how many siblings you had, and what your GPA was, and what their GPA was. I had an influx of responses. I had hundreds of responses and had no idea what to do with them. So I had to sit down and compartmentalize it and just do siblings of 2 and siblings of 3. And I found out that the youngest sibling almost always had the highest GPA. But I found that in families of 3, the GPA for the youngest sibling was actually higher than families in 2, and the siblings with the worst GPA was actually the middle child, which was the closest to the national average GPA, which is 3.0, and our average was a 3.456. Honestly, the experiment was very stressful, but I learned a lot about time management, and just understanding how to advocate for myself and understanding if I'm having a problem, how I can best talk to somebody and figure out the answer to that problem. So thank you so much.
Okay, my name is Gracie Cederlin, and I'm currently a junior, and I took chemistry my second semester sophomore year. And for my project, I did separating mixtures with color chromatography, and I kind of chose this project because I'm passionate about art, and I want to pursue an art-inspired career in the future. And as you can see, it's a pretty colorful project, so it's kind of what inspired me to choose it. And so basically, what color chromatography is you choose a few different samples you want to separate the different components in, and you can use a different liquid like water or isopropyl alcohol, and you can put it in a beaker just about this much, and then you can get a test strip, and you put your sample on the test strip just above the water line, and as the isopropyl alcohol absorbs up into the paper, it will separate the different components of your sample. So for my samples, I did Skittles, Crayola markers, and India ink. And so, as you can see, these were my failures. The India ink did not work. It was too, I don't know what the word is. It was too thick of a mixture, I guess. It just didn't really work. And then the red, you'd think as someone who wants to pursue art, they would know a primary color does not separate into multiple colors. So I switched to a purple Skittle, a secondary color. And then my other successful ones were a green marker and then a black marker. So once my isopropyl alcohol had completely saturated the paper, which took about a day, I took them out and let them dry, and I measured what colors had appeared on my complete chromatogram and how far each color had traveled. And then I made my graphs with my successful ones. So for my purple Skittle, the blue and the yellow had traveled the furthest. And for the black Crayola marker, the red and the black traveled the furthest. And then for the green Crayola marker, the darkest green ink had traveled the furthest. And I think having the matrix that we initially started off the experiment with had helped me a lot with the amount of failures I had in the beginning, especially having switched from water to isopropyl alcohol. I had a lot of failures because the water had diluted my sample. So I think it helped me organize my different samples and my trials that I had to do. But I think this experience was really good for me. It helped prepare me for my future classes and the ones I'm in now and will be in the future, and especially for my career where I'm going to have to be an independent thinker and put extra research into the projects and different experiences I'm going to have to do to come up with a project I'm proud of, which is what I'm showing you today. So, thank you.
Is that it? Thank you so much for those presentations. What an incredible opportunity you young folks have had to kind of shine in your passions, and we do as a board appreciate that, as I know as well as parents and the audience here. So again, thank you so much for all your hard work in those presentations. Our next, we have some recognitions this evening, and our first one will be done by Dr. Nichols to recognize the Region 1 Teacher of the Year.
All right, good evening. It is very tough to follow these incredible kids, but when I tell people I have the best job in the world, it's because I work with awesome students every day. I do want to point out that none of these students are in chemistry right now. These are all students that did a chemistry project last semester because of the way chemistry works, or the previous year. So for them to get up here and talk about an experiment when I struggle with what I did this morning from last year and still talk about it with that passion and that level of detail, it's just really commendable. And to stand up here and talk to us, it's just incredibly impressive. So thank you guys for being here, and thank you for being awesome. Speaking of awesome people, I want to recognize quite a few awesome people, but I'm going to start with a first in New Kent, which is each year we do Teachers of the Year, and we designate a division-wide Teacher of the Year. That division-wide Teacher of the Year then goes on to the regional Teacher of the Year competition. Our road to the championship always ends at the division level. So Henrico, Chesterfield, Richmond, all these, not this year. For the first time, we are home to the Region 1 Teacher of the Year. I believe he's been to as many board meetings as I have, because he's also been here to highlight CTE, but he has an opportunity May 18th to potentially be the state Teacher of the Year. So he will be in Richmond. I get to go to the governor's mansion because of him, because he and I get to go there along with Mr. Valdrigi. We have scouted out the other 7. There are 8 regions in Virginia, so we have scouting reports on each of them, and we're well equipped. But we want to take a moment to honor him and honor the work that he does. So our Region 1 Teacher of the Year is here tonight, Mr. John Augenbach. When you go up in levels, the awards need to go up too. So Mr. Augenbach, the time is not correct. So we'll say once. So this is, I don't know, to give it to you. I've never done this before.
I've never received one.
Okay, well, we'll do this together. There you go. Thanks. And I have a feeling he'll be back at our June meeting, and we may be celebrating something else. I don't want to forecast it, but what Mr. Augenbach has done to build programs at New Kent High School, and also his work with ODU and everything he continues to do, is just incredible. So thank you, John, for being part of Team New Kent, and excited to see the future.
Now, Dr. Nichols would like to recognize our support staff of the year.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mead. New Kent could not operate without our incredible support staff members. We started a program last year to honor support staff of the year at each of our schools. So that was a new initiative of ours. So this is year 2. So tonight we're going to present to you the staff support person of the year from each of the schools. And also, it's not a surprise because we already announced this on social media, we'll also present to you the division-wide support staff person of the year. So I will announce you. We will give you your really cool stuff. And then because we have multiple, got a little traffic jam. We'll kind of line up here, and then we'll do the division-wide. So thank you, Ms. Davis. So our George Watkins Support Staff Person of the Year is none other than Mr. William Brown.
Thanks, sir.
So if you ever step foot in George Watkins, you see Mr. Brown and the work he's doing, which extends well beyond what we actually require him to do. So with some of the drives and the support and all the different things, he's incredible. Our support staff person of the year from New Kent Elementary School is none other than Lee Larson. So in your bags, here's a tie-in. You have this one-of-a-kind custom cup that was created on the laser printer in whose class? Mr. Augenbach's class. So we intentionally tie all that together in these presentations. Our support staff person of the year from Quinton Elementary School is Mr. Leo Tracy. And we put Leo through it in a new building to try to open that this year. So he definitely deserves that one. Our New Kent Middle School support staff person of the year is none other than Barbara Duckett. And our support staff person of the year from New Kent High School also helped me get my own son through New Kent High School because everything runs through her office, and that is Bonnie Miner. Congratulations. She got it right behind you. And for our division support staff of the year, which, as you can see, was an incredibly tough decision, was none other than Barbara Duckett. Another pin. And congratulations to all of our support staff people of the year. And just a quick funny side story. So Ms. Larson was our staff support person of the year. The state superintendent came to town and wanted to go to New Kent Elementary School. So we record a bunch of videos for the VDOE, and poor Lee had to be in the background of all of them. So if you see any of those videos on YouTube, she's in the back of all of those doing what she does. So I said it during the pandemic, and I mean it even more now. We couldn't do what we do without our support staff. It really makes New Kent run and makes us special. So excited to start a program to honor our support staff and to really keep that going. So thank you, Mr. Mead.
Thank you. To continue with Dr. Nichols is that we would like to recognize Teacher Appreciation Week. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mead. Teacher Appreciation Week is fast approaching, and we have a wide range of activities to celebrate not only teachers, but all staff. So Teacher Appreciation Week will be May 8th through May 12th. So families and community members, if you want to celebrate staff and celebrate teachers, it's a great week to do that. We're going to kick off our staff celebration with our own event Friday, which comes just before the Teacher Appreciation Week. But each school has planned a whole host of activities, and we have a few division surprises as well. So thank you, Mr. Mead.
And then the recognition of the School Nutrition Employee Week and School Lunch Hero Day.
Yes, sir. That's going to be me again. I'm going to sub for Ms. Morkheim. School Lunch Hero Day, and what our nutrition workers do, they're nothing short of heroes, is May 5th. So each day, hundreds of students are served nutritious meals with a smile and kind words. And I will tell you, we have a phenomenal group across all 5 schools who make it happen every day for students. I can personally attest from working on the line for one day that it is an incredibly difficult position. And if you overserve, they will never ask you to come back again because they got to keep everything in line. But I want to thank Leslie Smith and Crystal Parsley and the entire team that make that happen every day, breakfast and lunch for thousands of students. And when the pandemic hit, we had to go mobile, they did that. When Charles City needed help because their folks went down, we went there and did that. Leslie and her team are heroes, and they do it every day, and they don't ask for any recognition. But they are a backbone of the work we do. So lots of heroes in this organization, but they're definitely among them. Thank you, Mr. Mead.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. And before we get to the next, I want to again say thank you so much for all that recognition. And I had mentioned to Dr. Nichols last week that being so passionate about all the employees of New Kent County, especially the school division, but it's actually countywide. I think as a gift to them, I talked to our leadership and our staff at our church. And so I think it's May 4th through the 6th? Is that when it is, Dr. Nichols?
I believe so. May
Is that
5th,
right?
May 5th?
May 4th or May 5th. Well, it's 2 or 3 days. But any county employee, whether it's in the school division or in general services, but any county employee at school, but anyone who has a county ID, if you go to, on those 2 days, if you go to the Celtic Creamery on 249 next to Rick's, you can get ice cream for free on those 2 days, and we're covering the entire cost of that. So every employee in the entire county is getting free ice cream for those 2 days, just as a recognition of thanking you for all of your hard work. And we've already accommodated with them and worked with them. And they just tell us what the bill is at the end of the 2 days, and we'll take care of that. So we are grateful for all of your hard work, and want to thank all the county employees from the school division to New Kent County, the Sheriff's Department, and first responders for all that they do.
Mr. Mead, I just verified it's the 8th through the 12th.
8th through the 12th.
And
Okay.
students are not eligible because I watched a couple in the front row.
That's right. And it's employees, I did have to clarify this. It is employees that have IDs. So don't bring like you and your husband and your 6 kids, okay? You can if you want. But anyway, but yeah, so just feel free between the 8th and the 12th to go get ice cream for free. Our next recognitions are Mr. Dermeyer there, recognition of Children's Mental Health Awareness Day.
I didn't want to pick up Dr. Stamp's
Is
conversation.
that it? Yes, apparently I got it right. Good evening, Chairman Mead, Dr. Nichols, and members of the board. May's a busy month as far as recognitions go. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and May 11th is National Children's Mental Health Day. So mental health can be identified or defined as a balance of emotional, psychological, social well-being. It can affect our thoughts, feelings, and behavior. And just a couple of statistics. Around 9.8% of children in the United States suffer from ADHD. There are approximately 2.7 million depressed children in the U.S. Only 8 in 10 children receive treatment for depression. Anxiety and depression in children increased from 5.4 to 8.4% over the past 10 years. And 50% of mental health problems are visible by the age of 14. So we certainly want to take some time and think about the students or individuals in our care that may be suffering with a mental health condition and provide them the support that they require. Moving on, May 10th is National School Nurse Day. Just want to recognize our nurses and their assistants, because without their assistants, their job would be a lot tougher as students line up to see the nurse. At any rate, we have New Kent High School. Julia Loveland is the nurse. Patricia Van Fossen is the clinic attendant. New Kent Middle School, we have Bethany Sherman as the nurse and Susan Bell as the clinic attendant. New Kent Elementary School, Amy Coyle and as the nurse, Karen Fish, the clinic assistant. George Watkins Elementary School, Amanda Akery as the nurse, and Amoika Welcome Matthews as the clinic attendant. And Quinton Elementary School, Deborah Harris as the nurse, and Lindy Duncan as the clinic assistant. So thank you very much to our nurses on May 10th. Moving on with a busy May calendar. May is also Better Speech and Language Month. And National Speech Language Pathologist Day is May 18th. To recognize our speech language pathologists, we have Courtney Spates, Kimberly Milby, Althea Strozer, Alexandra Williams, and Meredith Shockley, who assist with some of our individuals who have difficulty with hearing concerns. Also wanted to go ahead and throw in there, because it looks like I had neglected them earlier in the year, is to recognize our occupational therapists, Ms. Milby and Ms. Lambert-Watts, for all they do for us. I think their recognition was in October. As well as the individuals that help our students with any physical therapy needs, and that would be Ms. Riley and Ms. Loudon. So I just wanted to recognize them as we well, might as well add somebody else to the May calendar, right?
That's right.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Dermar, for those recognitions of mental health awareness, school nurse, and then speech and hearing and pathology and occupational therapy and physical therapy. Thank you so much for that. Next on our agenda is our superintendent's response to citizens' comments from our last meeting on April the 17th. Dr. Nichols?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mead. We did have some comments at our board meeting a couple weeks ago. I want to say I was very proud of our student advocates and the comments that they brought to the board and to myself. So working in partnership with the high school and the high school meeting directly with those students regarding those concerns, because that it really is the level. So we had some good conversation about the level to solve problems. So that is the initial level and kind of working there with students, but I am directly involved with that partnership as well. So we had the group of students who started the club in 2019 and their advocacy work, so making sure that they feel supported, and the other student that came in specifically about concerns that we're working through, and you will see some of those in a code of conduct review, which we'll be doing in June, so you'll kind of see that highlighted there and some specific actions that we're taking. Because I have the citizen comment piece, part of those comments on the one student side was about the vaping piece. Vaping continues to be an epidemic, and really trying to crack down on that. So we have some additional security measures, which you may or may not hear about tonight, but things that we're working on to really, it's not just a New Kent struggle, it's a struggle everywhere. So we're attacking it, and we'll continue to work on those issues that have been outlined. So that's that piece. The other comment was about school production, specifically rent. I will say that I was not able to attend, so I did not see it firsthand for one of our actors in the audience. So I was supposed to be there opening weekend and got ill. I think it's the first time I've actually been sick outside of COVID during Christmas in my entire time here in New Kent. So unfortunately, I was not able to witness firsthand. The more pressing question was about approvals. So currently, those approvals are not at the division level for extracurricular activities, no matter if it's theater or anything else in the organization. But we are looking at a shift with that to have additional oversight on school activities, curricular. We have complete oversight. Extracurricular, that's always stopped at the school level. So we will be working through that, and board members, you'll see a shift on our practices too. So we just want to make sure that we have eyes on everything. Doesn't mean that anything would change, but it does mean that we would have that approval and that connectedness to it. So I think that question is something we were already wrestling with, so I do appreciate it being brought forward, and it is something that we're working through. So I believe that wraps up comments, Mr. Mead.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. Now to the consent agenda. Is that board members, by now you have had the opportunity to review the items listed on the consent agenda, including minutes from previous meetings, bills and payroll, monthly financials, and the superintendent's recommendation regarding personnel and student matters. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? If there's no discussion, then we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. No nays. And the consent agenda is approved. Now to new business. Mr. Hockman is going to give us a presentation on the safety and security update.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Nichols. This evening, I am going to give you a very brief update on some things we've done with safety and security and some things we may be doing in the near future. We'll start with vestibules. You've heard us talking about vestibules for quite a long time now. We have some very good news. There we go, right there. At New Kent Elementary School, we recently completed some security measures in the front of the building. For those of you that have been to the building before, you used to be able to go straight in. And if you were so inclined, you could go to the right and enter our cafeteria area, or go to the left and go to the library or the academic wing. We try to funnel people to the main office, but truly there was no physical barrier there preventing folks from going around the building. It didn't happen often, but we knew that it was a need at the school. And what you see is on each side, on the right and the left, this is on the left side leading to the library. Nope. We put doors, and the doors are locked. You have to be let through by someone in the main office, or if you work there, your swipe card will allow you to get through. But what it really does is a great job of controlling flow of traffic as people come into the building, making sure we know where folks are. So we're very excited about that. New Kent Elementary School is a much safer place because of that, and we appreciate all the support of Tim Pollock and Dr. Stam in getting that going and finally getting those materials in and getting them in place. The next picture there is a picture of the vestibule at New Kent Middle School. Almost everything is done on that vestibule. That's right as you enter the front of the building. We have completed the air conditioning, the lighting, the electrical work. We've pulled data. There's two little things left based upon supply. We're waiting on an A phone, which is a high level of communication that allows the front office to both see and talk with someone outside of the building that has hit a button and is trying to get in, and also a swipe card. Right now, the supply chain is a little slow. When those pieces come in, it's a day or two to get them installed. So once those pieces are in, that vestibule at New Kent Middle School will be fully operational and ready to roll. Well, what we have there is an opportunity to have someone working in this vestibule, a front office staff, sort of a greeter, asking you where you're going, and from there we can direct folks to go to the correct place. So this will be also another opportunity to make sure we're controlling the flow of traffic at the middle school and that we know where people are going in our buildings at all times.
So in that one, thank you, Mr. Hockman. In that vestibule, you have a bank teller window similar to the setup at the high school, which we did a couple years ago. So you're able to exchange information, IDs, in those pieces. So once it's fully operational, you will not need to go up the stairs to the main office. You can check in, check out, do all those things right there in that secure vestibule with eyes on you. So big improvement from the split level approach where you could actually go pretty much anywhere in the middle school once you were buzzed in that front door. So continuing that work, I want to thank Mr. Hockman, Mr. Pollock, and the team. That has not been an easy thing to do from a design standpoint or an execution standpoint.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. Moving on, one thing we've talked about numerous times this year is security cameras, and it's been an ongoing sort of issue for us. What we would do is we would have an issue at a school where the administrators would try to deal with something that had happened in the building, and we realized we had a blind spot. So what we would do is we would retroactively go back and put a camera in that place, and then we go a couple weeks and realize at another place we had an issue with a blind spot. So we've come to you numerous times to talk about that. So we have continued to add cameras for two purposes. One, to handle blind spots, and secondly, to replace outdated equipment. Some of the cameras we had really were not efficient or clear or even working, and we've tried to make sure that we've given the administrators all the tools they need to be successful. About a week and a half ago, we actually conducted an audit with a company. They have came in and they basically went and helped us to identify any remaining blind spots that we had, any areas where we had cameras that probably needed upgrades, and they've also assisted us with creating a plan moving into the future of when to replace and repair. And so we're trying to be a little more proactive with what we're doing with cameras. I think we're in the area where we're ready to move forward with that, and you may see us coming to you in the near future talking about funding for the cameras. What we do know is it's very much needed in the building, and it's an expensive thing, but it's also a very valuable thing to ensure the safety of our students and teachers. Safety and Security Conference will be taking place this summer in Hampton. It will be hosted by the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services. We are very excited, and Dr. Nichols has been very encouraging with us going to this. We are taking the entire division safety team with us to this conference. That will include division level leaders, school leaders, school teachers, and also our SMSROs. It'll be across the board. We'll have a full group there to talk about current trends, things we need to work on within our own school division. It's a 3-day conference, so we're going to go there. We'll be completely thrown into safety and security. One thing we're really excited about is current trends. We want to stay on top of it versus being reactive when things go on around the country. So I think this is a great opportunity to get on top of this and really come back and talk about where we want to move in the future. And some of the funding also will come back. We'll be able to organize and have a plan moving forward over the next couple of years of where we really want to be. So just a great opportunity for our team, and to include the SROs is a big deal. That's not something we've done in the past, so our full team will be able to go. And finally, next steps, vestibule completion. As you saw, we're done at New Kent Elementary. We're close to being done at New Kent Middle School, a couple little pieces left there. And from there, that will put us in a very good spot once we complete GW. GW's got a couple little things that we need to do, but after we are done with all that, we'll have a very safe perimeter as people enter our buildings, and we'll know where folks are going. If there's one thing that drives schools crazy is not knowing where everybody is and who's in the building at all times, and that will allow us to do that. Another thing that's coming is the A-phones. You heard me talk about that a little bit earlier. That is the most current technology. It provides the best ability for a front office to communicate with visitors, both through audio and visual. We are waiting on some equipment to come in, but all of our schools will have the A-phone equipment, and we'll be caught up, and we'll have the very best available for that communication.
Mr. Hockman, if I could jump in. So what the A-phone allows you to do, previously you were utilizing your computer to see the front door camera. And the front door camera was not necessarily the highest quality. What the A-phone allows you to do, it rings right there on your desk, however many. I think New Kent Elementary has 4, so Dr. Stam has it. And you get the picture right there on the phone when it's ringing. So you don't have to move anything out of the way on your computer. You have that designated right there. So we repositioned the one at George Watkins so it's not off to the side. So a lot of that work just really elevates what we're able to see and what we're able to do. So I learned a lot about A-phones. I was just trying to share what I had learned.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. You can join us at the conference as well. That'd be great. One of the other things we're looking at, and we're probably going to be coming to you in the near future, is about weapons detection. There's a lot of new technology out there. We have looked at some other divisions and how they're handling that. It's not as easy as it sounds just putting the equipment in. We want to make sure, A, that we're bringing in the very best equipment available and that we know how to use that equipment and it fits our needs as a school division. So that is something that you will be hearing from us in the future about requests, and something we want to probably pilot at a school, get it really figured out, and then move it to some other schools potentially. Environmental sensors, Dr. Nichols said we may or may not talk about tonight. We will talk about that just a little bit. And I've learned a lot about this as well. These environmental sensors, depending on what type you get, give you a lot of options. They can pick up things in the atmosphere that are not good for you, CO2, things of that nature. They can detect an uprising in noise or activity. So if there were, per se, an altercation somewhere, it could alert you to that. Fire, obviously, vaping, things of that nature, and it also has the ability to immediately alert staff in the building so that they know where to go. It gives you a head start so that we're not reacting after something is already happening. Hopefully that staff and support can get there to help and aid in any situation that is there. So that is something that we are very interested in, and we'll be coming to you in the near future with that. And finally, Catapult, that is our communication system when we have any type of event. And what we've been doing, we've been trying to become experts in Catapult. We were okay with it. What we're doing right now, we've asked each building to run a monthly drill. And we're going through with support of both the school level and the division level, making sure we are utilizing Catapult to its full ability, making sure that we are able to identify where everyone in the building is and that all students have been accounted for. It also is a great tool for communicating with outside resources, to include EMS, state police, others like that. Everyone would have access to that and know what's going on if we had an emergency. And also, as you remember, a couple months ago, we talked about digital mapping. That took place in our buildings. They came, they digital mapped. We should have a completed project soon that will be ready to go and live, and we can tie that into Catapult as well. So that's some of the things we've already done, some of the things that we're hoping to do here in the near future, and just really looking forward to getting us everything that we need to provide a really safe environment for everybody at the New Kent School Division.
Any questions?
Mr. Hockman, what are we doing today with weapons detection in our schools?
Yeah, right now, weapons detection is not something that we're utilizing. Some divisions have a very strict policy with that. They are going through a weapons detection system or the old traditional scanning system, whether it be by hand or through walk-through metal detection. Right now, we do not utilize any of that on a regular basis.
Any other questions? Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ockman, on
Thank
that. I think all of that is is critical for the future of our school division and looking out for the safety of our students and our teachers and our employees. So thank you so much on that. Now to old business. Dr. Nichols is going to give us the update on the 23-24 budget and the CIP update.
Thank you, Mr. Mead. At our last board meeting, board members, you approved the superintendent's recommended budget for 23-24. Since that time, the county on the 25th adopted the budget, which included our budget within it. So no changes have been made between the approved and the adopted budget. I do want to thank Mr. Hathaway and his team. I don't think we've ever been complete. We've never finished the budget this early on the local side of things. We take for granted that we'll have a state number for the budget, and the local is the one that always takes the longest. And now it's the reverse. We finished the local piece in April, and it'll be mid to late June before we'll know the state number. But we do have a budget that that we feel will move us forward. And if we receive additional money from the state in June, we'll come back to you for to revise that budget. Our priorities in the budget have remained steady. The first is compensation for our employees, our current employees. The second is additional positions for the classroom, whether it's support positions or direct teaching positions. And the third piece is to expand programs for our kids. So if we receive additional money from the state, and there's a good chance we will, those will be the priorities, and we'll bring those forward to you. But as it stands right now, the attached documents is our revenue by fund and our revenue summary by source. So the $600,000 contribution from the county, additional dollars, is what held in the budget. So no changes, board members. This would come to you for adoption later this evening, which will make way for us to move contracts forward for employees. So be happy to answer any questions at this time, Mr. Mead.
Questions? Just want to thank Haney and Dr. Nichols and our entire team for working so diligently to fund everything that needs to be funded for the upcoming school year. I know that it was an incredible challenge for all divisions, and especially for the school. I mean, I know that our ask was $2 million, and we received $600 from the county. In the wake of no new tax increases and in the wake of not funding other positions, we have, and that's what I'm most proud of Dr. Nichols and Haney and her team, is that they have been able to be incredible stewards of the resources that have been provided them so that we can continue to move forward as a school division in providing resources for our teachers and for our families in New Kent County. So thank you very much, Dr. Nichols and Ms. Morheim and her team for doing that. Dr. Nichols is going to give us an update here on the pandemic funding update and where we are on that.
Thank you, Mr. Mead, and I will be pinch hitting for Ms. Morheim, so I will try to do this justice. Want to provide an update on our ESSER spending and our ESSER funds. So if you go to our website, all those documents have been updated to be current. Next board meeting, in the June board meeting, we will have our 6-month public hearing on these ESSER funds, but we thought it would benefit the public to have just a short presentation on those funds. Mr. Terry, Mr. Miller, thank you. So there have been no changes to the requirements for the plan. We continue to spend the funds as we've had outlined in the ESSER plan. We are considering making a shift in funding, still in the same bucket. So part of our funding goes towards recruitment and retention. Part of that is towards a career switcher program. The College of William & Mary is very interested in expanding the teacher in residence program with us. So we did not have that specifically outlined in those ESSER funds. A teacher in residence comes to a school division similar to a hospital before they are fully certified as a teacher, and they spend an entire year instead of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever student teaching is anymore, and they spend an entire year with us. And in that process, they commit to be a New Kent teacher for the following 3 years. So it gives us a leg up on recruitment. We have a large number of student teachers or teachers in residence that want to come to New Kent next year. So we are looking at potentially doing a shift in that funding, still under recruitment and retention, but an exciting initiative. So right now we have 2 elementary and then 5 secondary teachers in residence. So 2 science, 2 social studies, and 1 English, very interested in being part of Team New Kent. So no changes to speak of, Mr. Mead. We continue to do 2 things. One is to spend and be good stewards of that money. We recently had our federal audit with the State Department and got some great feedback on our next steps. The other and probably most critical piece is this funding ends. So when you think about these incredible programs, teacher in residence, career switcher, fill in that pipeline, summer of more, all of these things to step in the gap of learning loss, all of that fades away. So we're working very hard behind the scenes to make sure that's a seamless shift for us. So no action tonight, Mr. Mead, but really just wanted to touch on that before the public hearing next meeting.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nichols. Under old business is Mr. Dermeyer is going to give us an update here on the second read of the essential goals, 1, providing for and monitoring the development of academic, organizational behavior, and social competencies to ensure individual student success. Mr. Dermeyer.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman Mead, Dr. Nichols, and members of the board. When I first met with you on April 17th, I had presented you with the actual application itself, as well as that outline that I'm showing today, as well as the slide presentation. Described in some detail the components of the application itself and the purpose of the application to secure those funds, the flow-through funds, to support our special education population. I again presented the annual plan to the Special Education Advisory Committee on April 26th, and they saw the plan and approved of the plan. And unless there's any questions at this point, I would request that we approve the plan as it's written for the flow-through funds for 611, 619.
Any discussion, any questions? This does come before us for approval.
Mr. Mead, can I jump in for a second?
Yep.
We have some students that have some other obligations and things to go. Is it okay if they're being very polite and
yes,
don't want to step out? But,
students and adults, you can leave, but you have to give $10 when you leave. So, no, students, you're more than welcome to leave if you folks need to leave.
Adults
and
again,
parents
for recognition,
as well.
You're okay too.
Recognition people as well.
You are more than welcome to stay, so we're not kicking you out at all. But
were they really?
And just when I thought I was getting better at presenting. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Jeremiah, I'm sorry I did that during your presentation.
That's quite all right.
Has nothing to do with Title 6B.
Yeah, that's right.
I do want to put a plug in for Ms. McAnich's science fair for end of second semester. So we'll make sure the board and everyone has those dates. It's one of my favorite events of the year, and it is fast approaching.
June 6th and 7th.
There it is, June 6th and 7th, all day.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Jeremiah.
All right. Again, at this time, I'm requesting. Thank you, Chairman Mead. Again, at this time, I'm just requesting that the school board approve the plan as presented before you on April 17th. The SEAC approval and review on April 26th, and again this evening a brief overview of requests for funding.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Jeremiah, I thought I was cutting me off on my presentation. I forgot you had a second one. I apologize.
And then, Dr. Nichols, we will go over the meeting dates for the upcoming year.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mead. This is a change from our previous practice. We work very hard not to have conflicts with the Board of Supervisors. Yet, as hard as we work to do that, we always end up having conflicts, and they tend to happen. Primary reason is we adopt July to July. They adopt January to January. So the last time we shifted the meeting, I did mention that this year we would like to adopt July to January. And then we'll go January to January and we'll adopt at the same time and make sure. The biggest issue is spring break is typically the trip up piece because we move our meeting, but especially now that we share the same space, we want to be mindful of the Board of Supervisors and also the Planning Commission and to plan our meetings accordingly. So as of this moment, there are no conflicts connected to those dates, but if they change, we will let you know. I do want to point out that July's meeting is late in July. It's as late as you can get it in July. That has to do, once again, with the 4th of July holiday being the first week, the county's meeting being the next week, the Planning Commission and those pieces. So for us to do that meeting and have it in the same venue, July 31st, was really where we needed to do it. We can manage that on our end. We will close up most of our business in June. And July will be about recruiting and staffing and getting ready for the new school year. So outside of that, it follows a pretty logical flow. You do have a couple of work sessions built in there, but those can be deleted. It's just dependent on need. So that's all I have for that, Mr. Mead. This is a first read. It will come back to you for a second read at the June meeting for adoption.
Thank you. Yeah, do we need a second reading?
No, sir. You can. We could.
Does anybody want a second read?
If we don't need a second reading, we'll vote and adopt it this evening.
We have to amend the agenda.
Okay, we'll amend the agenda.
Yep. So we'll amend
for
it.
action items.
Yes, sir.
No, life is good. Now on to our citizen comment period. Before we begin, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight to speak who has signed up. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. Did anybody sign up? No one signed up. That's off the agenda. Now to our action items. For our first action items, we want to consider the approval of the annual special education plan and grant application. Do I hear a motion to approve the annual special education plan grant application as presented?
I make a motion that we approve the annual special education plan as presented.
Yes. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Any discussion? No discussion, then we'll take a vote. All in favor of approving the plan as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Barber. There no no's. The plan approves as presented. Second adoption we have this evening is the approval of the 23-24 budget and CIP. Do I hear a motion to adopt the superintendent's approval of the FY 23-24 budget and CIP as presented? May I have a motion?
I move that we adopt the superintendent's approved FY 23-24 budget and CIP.
You're a second.
I second.
Any discussion? If there's no discussion, then we'll take a vote. All in favor of approving the adopted budget for the 23-24 year, state by saying aye.
Aye.
No opposed. The budget is adopted for the 23-24 year. And now I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to approve the school board meeting dates as presented by Dr. Nichols for July 23 to December or January 24 as presented this evening.
I second.
Any discussions? There's no discussion, then we'll approve the school board meeting calendar as presented by Dr. Nichols this evening.
Mr. Mead, technically this approval will add it to the agenda, and then we'll run it back and do the approval.
That's fine.
Okay.
No worries.
So this vote is to amend the agenda and add an approval to it.
Okay.
So,
Good? Yep. Need a second?
well, you had a second.
I
Yeah,
second, so
yeah.
we need a
Yeah.
vote.
So you need to
Yeah.
vote on that.
Yeah, so we'll vote on approving the change in the agenda for the approval of the budget. All in favor, say aye.
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 Ms. Barber? There you go.
All right. So now you have before you
Another
a
action.
motion to
Yeah.
approve. So,
So now we have to approve it.
yes, sir.
I move that we approve the school board meeting dates as presented for July through January 2024.
I second.
Any discussion? If there's no discussion, then we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have approved the meeting dates for the school board for July 23 through January 24. Thank you very much. Now to our school board member and superintendent comments. Will Ms. Barber, do you have anything you would like to share this evening?
Yes, I think that our student presentations this evening really helped showcase the strength of our students and their ability to prepare independent projects with the scientific method. I think that was really a great demonstration of what we're all here for. And, of course, also, our celebration for our support staff. That is, a very good, recognition that we have started to do. So I appreciate that the administration does that because they, deserve to be recognized. And, those are my comments for this evening.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Barber. Ms. Taskell?
I just would like to say congratulations on getting our budget completed so early, and especially for getting those contracts out to our teachers so early. That's a huge accomplishment that I feel like we've been working towards for a long time. So, and that's to the Board of Supervisors as well. So I'm really thankful for their partnership and for all the work that Haney and her team, as well as the rest of administration, put forward to make that happen. Excited about the safety and security measures presentation that we saw tonight. That's great work. I'm so glad that we're doing that work. It's another step in the right direction. And I think that's it for me. Very
Okay.
thankful.
Ms. Winford?
Thank you, Mr. Mead. I'd also like to thank the students that came tonight and the teachers that work with them, the teachers and staff that work with them. It's always great to hear from our students. My daughter's in that chemistry class this semester, so maybe I'll get to see her present at some point in the future. That'd be exciting. And we had the Strides for Schools event over the weekend. I'm not going to steal some of my other board members' thunder, but that was a great opportunity for the community to get together. And I'm always amazed at all the work that goes into that event from members of the Educational Foundation. Ross Miller, I'm looking at you in the back. Everybody does such a great job, and it's these people work so hard, to get sponsors and prizes and work with the route, because of course we had to pivot again because of the weather. And people don't complain; they just do their job, and they love what they do as volunteers. And I'm always just so honored to be a part of that event, and just want to thank the NKEF for all that they do. With respect to the budget, I want to thank the board chair and vice chair for their work. I know there's a lot of additional meetings that go into working with our partners at the Board of Supervisors. In the conversations that are had, the meetings that are had. So I want to thank you both for doing that and going the extra mile to make sure that we have a good alignment with our partners at the county on the budget. We certainly didn't get everything that we had asked for in the budget this year, and I know that Dr. Nichols will measure that, for the future to see where we come up, what we need to measure in order to justify what we asked for. And I know that will be done. So I appreciate that, because I know it's not easy to do that. And, we do get comments from parents and from other members in the community. I certainly did this budget cycle, and it was really for additional support at the high school, adding an additional assistant principal. I just want to let people know that I hear about that, as well as in English as a second language teacher. So those were two of the areas that I certainly received feedback on. So wanted to share that to be completely transparent. So again, just appreciate everybody as we head into the final days of the school year. Thank you to everybody, and appreciate the time.
Thank you, Ms. Swinford. Ms. McBee?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mead. Just to echo a couple of the comments on the budget, certainly appreciate all the work that has been done by Dr. Nichols, Haney, and her team. And, as Ms. Swinford mentioned, we're lean and mean here in New Kent County. And, I do thank the Board of Supervisors and, their support as well. So, glad that is, that is behind us at this point, and, hopefully we'll look forward to some additional funds from the state perspective. And also to follow up from the Striders event, yes, it was fun Saturday morning, despite the early weather. But the thing that amazes me so much is, we've got folks from the, community and students and families, but there are also people who are interested in our schools who, maybe don't have any kids currently in our schools, who come out and support and work these events. So I'm really thrilled, and was glad to have had an opportunity to participate. So, and lastly, just congratulations to all of our support staff, as well as Teacher of the Year, Mr. Augenbach, and good luck to him on the state level. So, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Nichols?
Thank you, Mr. Mead. I do want to echo the comments about the Strides for Schools 5K. I may or may not be the second place Apple Dash winner. So in the 15 and over category, because those elementary kids, they beat me all over that track. But really a fun way to connect with the community. And just thank you to the Education Foundation. They're phenomenal. And every dollar they raise comes right back into our schools. So really excited about that. We have finally approved the budget. So that's a long process. So towards the end of that process, I sent out an all call to Team New Kent and said, please invite me to anything and everything. So that is off and running. Last week alone, I was in the student dodgeball tournament and did not fare well at the high school. And Ms. Krajeric and I ate bugs somehow to support George Watkins. So anything for kids and community. It wasn't that horrible. But so reading to kids, I'm going on 2 field trips. I'll be canoeing with 5th graders. I'll be going to the Lib Museum. And we do a lot of great work in New Kent. So my goal on the other side of this budget is just to immerse myself in it for the last 30 days of school, as we have a couple seniors in here who have even less than that. So really excited about that. And then the recognitions tonight. We've worked really hard on recognizing incredible people. We have our first ever Team New Kent night, which will be June 1st, and we're going to celebrate all these folks, and service awards for people that have been here, 25 plus years, and also the folks we'll say goodbye to with retirement. So just another way to bring it all back together, and I hope we're also announcing the State Teacher of the Year that night. So thank you, Mr. Mead. Thank you, Board, for your advocacy through this budget process. It's never an easy process, but it's made easier by strong leadership and great support. So I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. I do echo those sentiments. It was a joy to be there on Saturday morning for the Strides. And, the thing that always amazes me when we do these community events, especially for the New Kent Education Foundation, when so many people show up, especially our administrators show up, our principals and our assistant principals, and it was great to see all of them there, and it really shows the investment that they have. Even from the Board of Supervisors, Mr. Evelyn was there, and just it is a great event. And I think with New Kent is the thing that impresses me most is that it is a community that is dedicated to the community, and they want to keep moving forward. And I think that Strides event with with what Mr. Files does and Debbie Richardson and all of their support staff and Mr. Miller, it is just incredible how they raise so much money for scholarships and to catapult our students to the next level. So I want to thank them so much. I do want to say something with, and Dr. Nichols was talking about the comments from students last week and even parents. Again, I am so proud of our students is that I think that it is we as a board always look forward of being an earpiece to students and to parents and to teachers and to the community of hearing how things are going in schools. And again, no situation is perfect. No circumstances is perfect, but what I will say is that I feel like that we listen, and when we listen, we hear what you have to say, and I'll use Dr. Nichols' comment even about the play. We did this last year with the library books, is that we saw that there was an issue or concern. We came up with a committee. We formed something, and again, it's not a perfect system, but we hear what's going on, and now we want to move forward in making action to make that happen. And so I am proud that we are able to communicate and have open communication dialogue within our community with our students and with our parents. And I did talk to the students afterwards, and I advocated that they should always speak up for themselves, and if they have issues or concerns, that they need to address them in a way that they can be heard. The other thing I want to talk about is obviously the budget. Everybody wants more. Right? It's just the bottom line. We all want more. And this became a little bit personal. And last week, there was a commentary that was written by the superintendent from the city of Richmond, Dr. Camaras. And I was a little bit offended by it as a school board member. And I sent him a personal email, one-on-one. And he was grabbing at straws. And basically my response is that the character of a school division is defined by making the best out of what they have. Is that we would all love to have more. But the question is, when you don't get more, what do you do then? And I basically put him to task, and I still haven't gotten a response from him yet, about the city of Richmond gets almost $10,000 more per student than we get to educate students. And we somehow or another do the very best with what we have. And I said that to him. And I challenged him on being partners with his community. And I think that's one of the things that this board has done exceptionally well, is partnering with its community and partnering with its board of supervisors to make things happen. And again, it's not a perfect system. But I do know this in my time here on the school board is I do know that as being a resident, as being a taxpayer, is that I understand if we want better safety, if we want better fire and EMS, and we want better public safety from Sheriff's Department and better educational services, somebody has got to pay for it. And at some point, it's going to come when we think that if 67 cents is going to pay for it, it's not. And we need to be prepared in the future. And I think the Board of Supervisors knows this as well. And they're doing the very best that they can. But we cannot have the best schools, the best EMS, the best fire, and the best police department and not think that it's not going to cost us money. It's going to cost us money. And I'll tell you personally, I am willing to pay more money to have good schools, to have the best Sheriff's Department, to have the best fire and EMS, because I'm committed to the community, I'm committed to the county. And so I know that it costs. When I look at our peers, and we talk about this quite frequently, when you look at the city of Richmond and you look at Henrico and Chesterfield and Hanover, our tax rate is a fraction of what theirs is. And so we know that moving forward, and I know that there are some administrators here, it is our advocacy to get you everything that you want every single time. And I appreciate you making the most out of every situation that's been presented to you, because I know it is not easy. And I appreciate you more than you know. So as we move forward as a community and as a board and as an education system, I know it's going to take more. And my hope and my prayer is that we continue to partner with the Board of Supervisors and the people in New Kent County to understand that we can do more, but it's going to cost us, and there's a price to be paid for that. And I'm willing to do that at the sake of our education and of our public safety as well. So I just want to encourage people just to keep pressing forward, hold fast, because I know that New Kent is a great place with a great future, and I know that together we can all accomplish this. So with that said, that our next meeting will be, next regular meeting will be on Monday, June the 5th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. at New Kent County Administration Building Boardroom. With that, meeting is adjourned at 6:50 p.m.